Skip your coffee this morning. Vanessa Niles will give you a power surge. What's it all about? You'll find out coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on menopause, and we're visiting with one of the area's foremost experts, Dr. Vanessa Niles. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
It seems kind of funny sitting here on Carolina People to say we're focused on menopause, but that, that's really a big deal with a lot of our viewers, and that's something that someone had said recently. You need to really think about Dr. Niles and getting her in because she's a real pro, at least talking about it. I mean, obviously, a lot of women, I guess, could say they're pros on menopause, but being able to talk about it's a big deal.
I am so thankful that you asked me to come on the program because I am passionate about menopause. Clearly, I'm an obstetrician gynecologist, but since I went into the perimenopause and menopause myself and understood the real effects, I became totally passionate about finding out all the information I could and to disseminate this information to women and help them.
You know, when you think about your early days in med school or otherwise, or studying aspects of obstetrics or gynecology, did you ever think back then that there would be an aspect that you'd really get into and want to get the word out about a certain aspect of the profession? I mean, you knew you'd be treating lots of women and they'd have lots of different issues that they'd be concerned about. But did you ever think that you'd find some love that you'd want to make sure, as you say, to get the word out?
Well, that's a very, very interesting question. I think as you know, when you're very young, you have a lot of ideas. You want to conquer the world and you want to do some of everything. I've always enjoyed delivering babies, and I still enjoy delivering babies. And I have been a fortunate woman in that I have grown children, a grandchild, and I was fortunate enough to be pregnant again 4 years ago. So I have 24 years between my children and a 4-year-old, and then 2 years later I went into menopause. So I just feel that God made me an example, and I've gotten to experience everything.
Yeah.
So I'm experiencing my own menopause, and from that I'm able to share and relate to women's symptoms and the changes that we go through in this particular decade.
Right, and I think recently you all kicked off a monthly session for women, by women, about women.
Yes.
Power Surge, I think the third
Power
Wednesday.
Surge. Yes, it's called Power Surge, and this is a menopausal support group and a seminar. It's a seminar and it's fun every month. In this seminar, we do an educational seminar for a portion of it. We eat, and with that, we do other things. We either do another lecture on exercise, nutrition, yoga. We're going to do a spa, and
Wow.
this is all free. This is for women to get together so that they'll know that however they're feeling, they are not the only ones who feel that way. And when they come, they really express themselves very vibrantly.
And this is free.
And it's free.
And there's food involved.
And there's food
now,
involved.
normally, when you say it's free and there's food involved, you get crowds, and you're only getting crowds whether there was food or it was
not.
free. I mean,
That's
you're
right.
still going to get crowds out there.
Absolutely. And it's healthy food, too.
Right.
Nice veggie wraps, really good, nutritious food.
But this is an instance where it is entirely open to women only.
Well, yes, it's open to women. It's really for women, but men can come.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, it is not only the woman, but it's the families that are involved, even
Absolutely.
the children that are involved. I think about my own mother, when she was going through menopause. And when I say it from a layman's perspective, going through, I mean, this goes on a long time, or I guess maybe you can break down real quick. What is the, if you were talking to a class of junior high students, and they wanted to know what is menopause, how would you explain menopause for our viewers?
The definition, just a short definition of menopause, is when women stop having their menses for an entire year. And the average age of menopause is approximately from 52 to 54 years old. Okay. But really, it's a larger span than that. It's the perimenopause, and that can start in, you know, a woman's mid-30s. Around 35, a woman starts having symptomatology with, you know, hot flashes or night sweats or fatigue or irritability or tension or mood swings. And women need to have their hormone levels checked. I think that that's the big idea that I want to get out here. They need to have their hormones checked. They need to have them checked by the best modality, which I feel is a saliva test. And what we're really trying to say here is we need to be balanced in order to have the greatest possible life. One of the interesting things on Oprah, she turned 50 this year. And years ago, we used to think that when you turned 50, your life was absolutely and completely over. You did nothing else. Your children were done, and you needed to start thinking about retiring. You certainly didn't have sex any longer. You became irritable, and people talked about you. You know, she's just in that way. Well, today, with bioidentical hormones, that's not the truth. Humans are living much longer, and your quality of life today is extremely important.
You said bioidentical hormones. What is that?
Bioidentical hormones are hormones that look and act and are exactly the same hormones that we produce naturally in our bodies. That means that these are not pharmaceuticals or drugs. They are made from soy and plant products by a compounding pharmacist. So they are the exact hormones that that woman already has in her body. And what we're trying to do is balance those hormones for a greater lifestyle and symptom relief.
Now, obviously, this probably women would be more familiar with their needs for. I mean, why would someone need? And this would be, again, this ties into menopause.
Right.
Why would a woman need bioidentical hormones? Or
as women go into the menopause, they lose three major hormones. They're three major sex hormones. They have a major decrease in estrogen, in progesterone, and also in testosterone. Those hormones not being balanced cause severe symptoms, whether those symptoms are physical symptoms like hot flashes or night sweats, or emotional symptoms. They also include a fogginess that women have, or what we call a senior moment. They become very forgetful. So it's important to realize that your hormones need to be balanced. 2 years ago, a study came out where they studied synthetic hormones, and they found that there were multiple side effects to the synthetic hormones. Well, that's the issue here. These are not synthetic hormones. They are bioidentical to the exact hormone that you have in your body at the present time. And women feel wonderful, Greg. They come into the office, they're slightly depressed, they're crying. They feel like they're going crazy. And when they come back in a month after they've been balanced on their hormones, they skip and jump, they smile, and they feel like they got their life back. And their husbands attest for it, too. Their libido is back as well.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It is.
That is incredible.
It is.
When you think about that aspect, of course, and as we said, with the children of women going through menopause, or the families that are essentially affected by it, if they're still around the house, or if even at that point the kids are out of college and they're coming back and they're seeing their mom and saying, "You're not like you were when I was in high school or junior high. What happened, Mom?"
Absolutely.
I mean, it may be even those kind of issues that.
Those are the exact issues that women come and talk to me about. I mean, I had a woman to tell me just the other day that her 17-year-old son said that she was just absolutely cranky. He couldn't take it anymore. And she had just changed, and she sat and she thought about it, and she said, "Dr. Niles, I can't feel the change, but I do know that I'm a little crankier than usual." And when we tested her, one of her hormones, she had none in existence in her body.
Wow.
And after she had that corrected, she just smoothly went back to being the self that she remembered.
The mom that her son knew.
That's right.
Wow,
it's
that's
wonderful. It's a very satisfying feeling when you can directly see people's behavior and symptoms be resolved.
That must be great.
It is.
Real quick about yourself, Vanessa. Are you originally from the area?
I'm not originally from the area, but I've been in South Carolina for about 18 years. I lived in the Low Country. I lived in Beaufort, South Carolina, which was a very rich experience as well, for 10 years. And I've lived in Horry County for 7 years. I live in Conway.
What brought you to Conway?
I really came to Conway as a consultant for 3 months and ended up loving it. I absolutely was embraced by Conway Medical Center and their physician staff, and the people that I served were wonderful. And I made a decision that perhaps this is where my path should be, and I've been here ever since. I never went back home. I came here for the 3 months, and I never went back.
Is that right?
That's right.
You said, this is where I'm going to be?
This is where I'm going to be.
And you're now the managing partner of the Women's Wellness Center there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so now that is a practice. You said it's a part of Conway Medical Center. It's an offshoot.
Not.
It's close by.
It's a Conway Medical Center has their own medical arts building that they built, a very beautiful building, and we are in that building.
Okay.
But Women's Wellness Center is a full-service obstetrics and gynecology practice, so we do the full scope of all women's services at Women's Wellness Center.
Great. How was Thanksgiving yesterday?
Thanksgiving was absolutely wonderful. Mel's family came down from Virginia.
That's right.
And we really enjoy them. Always enjoy seeing them, and it was excellent.
I'm trying to remember the name of that small town close to Emporia.
Skippers.
Skippers, that's right. You know, your
Skippers,
husband actually, and
Virginia.
I don't want anyone to think that we have husband and wife week after week, but that happened. Mel Tiller was with us last Tuesday, I believe.
Absolutely.
Jim Feldman was on Monday, and he was with us on Tuesday, and now you're a little more than a week later. You know, and Mel couldn't really talk to us about menopause. He said, you know, if you want to learn about women's issues, I know the person to talk to.
Right.
I think he also made an interesting point. I think he said about 4,000 women enter menopause every day.
Every day.
Around the country, or is that around the world? I guess that's
Just around the country.
right.
Well, if you look, I really don't know how young you are, Greg, but we're in the baby boomers, so all of the baby boomers are hitting menopause now, and these are women who have been independent women, multitaskers, and when I say independent, I'm including homemakers. That is a very difficult job. So that whole group of women are entering the menopause. They've always had a lot of energy, and they're wondering, what's the problem now?
You know, when you think about it, bioidentical hormones, is that something that's being commonly prescribed? I mean, is prescriptions needed for that, or is that something that is being commonly done in our area, in our viewing area, let's say in southeastern North Carolina, the PD, or down here in Horry and Georgetown?
Absolutely. Actually, if I could say this to you, I went away last year and did a sabbatical, and I studied with a physician named Deepak Chopra and another physician named Dr. Simon, David Simon, in California. And the issue is 2 years ago when that study came out about hormone replacement therapy using pharmaceuticals, a lot of women just stopped, and a lot of physicians recommended that they stopped taking their hormones. However, as I said, women felt horrible. So bioidentical hormones have always been out here. They are made by a compounding pharmacist. You do need a prescription, but it is individualized and made for the individual woman. The dosage is made for each person individually. And there's no money or profit margin in that, Greg. It's not something that can be patented. It's not a drug. It can't be patented because it occurs naturally in our bodies. And actually, very few physicians were taught these things in medical school. So you have more and more physicians today learning more about it because women are demanding it. Suzanne Summers wrote a book that's out this year. It's called The Sexy Years, and the book flew off the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. As you know, she had breast cancer, and afterwards she sought out the medical community to try and find a way to resolve her symptoms, and it was very difficult. She had to go all around the country until she could find some physicians who had an interest in that subject and could work with her. And she subsequently wrote an excellent book on that subject, and there are many books out on that subject. But if the question is, did you learn this in medical school, the answer is no.
Wow, is that something they would contemplate teaching in medical
Oh,
school? Maybe not now or 5 years from now,
I'm
but
sure that they are teaching
right,
it now.
thinking about it.
Oh, definitely. I've been a physician now for 20 years, so I am sure that the medical school agendas are changing just as rapidly.
You know, we think about the synthetic hormones that can be patented, the
Yes.
Provera and other ones that people get into or think about.
Yes.
But of course, that aspect where you say there's really not a profit margin involved in the bioidentical hormones,
Right.
because after the saliva test, everyone's will be different.
Absolutely.
I mean,
And that's the beauty of it, is that it's not a one-size-fits-all package. It is customized individually for each and every woman.
This is something vital. Now, real quick, if a viewer needed to get off to work or out to get folks to school or otherwise, what's a good number? Is there a web address? What's a good phone number that someone could learn about Power Surge, which is open to the public and is obviously free, and free food?
Yes.
Or as well as just finding out a little bit about bioidentical hormones?
Actually, a good number to call is our office number. And do you want me to say the number?
Yeah, please,
The
sure.
number is area code. We have two offices. We're located here in Myrtle Beach, and we have an office in Conway.
Okay.
So, and the number is 843-347-4600, and that's for both offices. You could reach us at the Myrtle Beach office or the Conway office, and we'll give you all the information that you need.
843-347-4600. Okay, y'all also have a website.
Yes.
thewomenswellnesscenter.org. I visited that. I saw that earlier this morning. It was fascinating going through that. And there was a phrase that was commonly used throughout the site, as well as through so many of the written materials about you and your practice and the time you spent with Deepak Chopra. Knowledge is power,
Yes.
and belonging is knowledge.
Absolutely.
When we hear the word belonging, that's belonging to just belonging. Break that down. Explain that to viewers who may see that on the website.
Well, you know, I've learned a lot from patients. When patients come to the office, I find that in today's environment with the internet, patients will seek out their own information before they ever hit any type of physician's office, whether
Right.
it's a physician, a chiropractor, or any other alternative modality. Patients will learn what they need to learn. So I feel that knowledge is power, and patients will come to the office and they'll try to give me some new material, and I always encourage that, Greg, because I learn just like they're learning.
Yeah.
So knowledge is power. The more you understand about your own body, the more you understand what alternatives are out here, the better off you'll be as a human being.
Now, you talked about the normal times, 52 to 54. Are some of the symptoms of menopause going to be around longer than that?
I think that they will. I want to talk to you about some risk of women moving into the menopause, and that is there are some issues we don't talk about anymore, and that's osteoporosis. Osteoporosis occurs rapidly after the menopause, after age 50. After age 50, women have a 1 in 4 chance of developing some type of fracture, some type of spinal fracture or some type of hip fracture. And I did a lecture in Power Surge a week ago, and in investigating that topic, I realized that 1 in 3 people, 1 in 3 women who experience a hip fracture may die, and 50% of them may end up going to a nursing home.
Is that right?
It was incredible. So the issue of understanding menopause, understanding what you need to do during that time period, whether it's your eating habits, whether it's your dietary habits, whether it's balancing your hormones, all of those things are so important. And as you know, today our society is much more conscious about how they look and feel and their physical bodies. This is wonderful. This is wonderful.
It sounds wonderful. You know, one fascinating thing I guess I've always wondered about, particularly folks who reach menopause and then go through it. Is there a change in sexual desire during menopause or after? Or how do you talk to folks who are wondering if their desire levels are where they should be, or if as their body's changing? I mean, what's going on there?
You know, it is so brave of you to bring that question up.
Well, no, yeah.
It really is, because that's a question that women and men really, really want to talk about, and you really have to have a receptive ear, even to hear a hint. As a matter of fact, as you move past 40 years old, your hormone levels decrease or start to decrease significantly. In women in particular, your testosterone level decreases, as well as your estrogen levels and your DHEA levels. All of those hormones affect your sex drive. So you may have been married for 20 years, you love your husband, you love your family, but you have no desire any longer. And that can easily be corrected. So a lot of women are pulled into the office, Greg, and they tell me, I really love my husband, Dr. Niles, but I just have no more desire. And I'm always happy when they come back in 4 weeks. They feel really good.
So the bioidentical hormones could factor in whether someone's in menopause or not. I mean, this could be
Absolutely.
utilized, as you said, after 40 when everything starts dropping.
Absolutely. After 35 years old, if you're having some issues, you need to have your hormones checked.
You know, you talked about 52 to 54, not to put my mom on the spot, but she's in her mid-60s now. And, you know, 10 years ago when I was getting out of college, I was back in Durham for almost a year. And, you know, I think about aspects of my mother. It seemed like memory was a real issue. You know, I was a little concerned about her memory levels. At that time, I'm concerned even now. You know, it seems like leading up to yesterday, she kept saying, so when are you coming home for Thanksgiving? When, are you bringing Emma Claire? You know, I would it seemed to hear that every time I talked to her. But is forgetfulness a common thing? That
Absolutely. I'll be looking through a chart or trying to talk and do multiple functions, and I'll just forget. Right in midstream, I'll forget. So we're nice about it. We call them senior moments, and it's very, very common. And it's so nice that you brought that up, too, because sometimes people think that they're losing their minds, and they're really not.
Well, now, can the bioidentical hormones help for senior moments?
Absolutely.
Well, what do we I mean, why is this not everywhere all over the world? Why isn't bioidentical? Now, of course, again, the synthetic hormones are commonly, that still helps, right?
Yes.
That's still a step in the right direction, but it
Yes.
clearly doesn't sound like it's as productive as bioidentical hormones.
Again, I think the key issue here is, you know, we live in a society that is profit-driven, and there's nothing the matter with that. You know, we all have to eat. Right, we have to pay the bills. However, this is not a vehicle by which a drug company can make tons of money on.
Right.
Okay, and it's very intensive. It takes a lot of counseling and a lot of one-on-one counseling with the women, their physician, and a pharmacist.
I mean, the fascinating thing is for an OBGYN, you'd love to potentially be peddling something else, not to discourage that from folks who are using that and find that, because you love to get patients in and out.
Right.
Just in and out the door and say, hey, you need this, you need that.
Right.
But to be able to sit down and take the time with them. I mean, you're not jacking the numbers up on the patient.
Absolutely.
You're saying, we really want to learn to help you more. I mean, this sounds like a demonstrable aspect.
Absolutely. And it takes about 45 minutes per patient to do that counseling. But believe me, it has brought the passion back in me, in life, in medicine, and people want that. People want your time. They want you to listen to them. They want to be able to express themselves, and they want to walk out of there feeling like they were really heard and that they really bonded with their caregiver. And I feel good when I practice today, Greg. I feel like I'm doing what I went into medicine to really do. I feel fulfilled with this.
Vanessa, I really want to talk about that time with Dr. Chopra, but we've only got a couple of minutes,
Okay.
and I think a lot of folks who take the time to come out to a power surge
Right.
could hear you talk about that, whether anecdotally or directly, and so I want to make sure I get the particulars of that for viewers who may want to get out there. And this is the third Wednesday of every month.
Yes.
It's held where?
It's held at Conway Medical Center in the Medical Arts Building on the second floor.
Okay, how much notice would a viewer need to give you all?
She doesn't need to give us any notice. It's the third Wednesday of every month.
Are you going to have enough food there if
Absolutely.
folks show up?
Absolutely.
Great. You'll find a way. 843-347-4600 to learn more.
Absolutely.
Now, do you change the format every month?
Every month we do something new.
Okay.
Every month we do something new. We're hoping to do a spa for everybody that comes, a free spa for everybody that comes next month. It may either be in January, either in December or in January. So we really look forward to that.
And the time for a viewer to show up there?
It's 7 o'clock. It's from 7 to 9.
2 hours.
2 hours.
That's great. So they're not to eat dinner before coming because y'all are serving something out there.
Yeah, we are.
That's great.
We are.
Okay.
Yeah.
That 843-347-4600 number. That's
Yes.
good. If you could take away something, and it sounds like you're getting the biggest thrill just having patients get into this and entirely change their lives. Is there something, again, you think back to med school and you think about everything that's happened in the interim. Has this been the biggest thrill for you, or is it still birthing babies?
I think that I'm still passionate about medicine and about, you know, having and birthing babies. You know, let me talk about that. Every time you deliver a baby, it's just an absolute miracle. And it doesn't matter how many babies we deliver, each and every time is a miracle. So I really just feel like I'm having my cake and eating it too. That's how I really feel. So on the one hand, I deliver babies, and on the other hand, I really feel like I'm directly helping women at a different stage of their life who are outside of having babies any longer.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Vanessa, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you. It's great.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Dr. Vanessa Niles coming up next. You know, it was Thanksgiving yesterday. There's so many things you can think about on Thanksgiving. You probably didn't think the day after Thanksgiving you'd be hearing about bioidentical hormones or about menopause counseling, but the excitement is there's other phrases like the sexy years and names like Suzanne Summers or Deepak Chopra or even Vanessa Niles. You know, it's exciting to think about so many aspects of life that change. Power Surge would be really cool. You need to take the time. She said it was open to women, men. I suspect there's mostly women there, and the excitement is the third Wednesday of every month. From 7 to 9 p.m. they serve food, and it's free. You get out there, take the time to listen about what menopause counseling is all about. This is counseling from women who are going through it to other women in the room, as well as noted experts like Vanessa themselves. Get out there. Call 843-347-4600 to learn more. Third Wednesday of every month. Conway Medical Center. Get out there.